Hello and welcome. I am Josephina, and this is my co-host Rose, and this is the Time Cats podcast.
Have we officially started now?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. We were going to call this a pun on TARDIS, but we decided it was too complicated, so we just went with Time Cats.
Yeah. Initially, we were gonna call it Tardip.
Time and relative dimensions in pizza, which didn't really make sense because we're not inside of pizza. But pizza.
Are you sure?
I don't smell like pizza. I don't smell like cheesy goodness. So
What if the universe is one big pizza?
it is round, probably.
Yeah.
Could be a flatbread. It's the cosmic background is more of an oval shape.
Well, we might be on the pepperoni on that pizza.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. All right,
Yeah.
we were also considering TARDIS with a C, because then we could call this the TARDIS podcast and sound official. But TARDIS with a C stood for time and relative dimension in cats, and that would have been more accurate, but we are still not inside of a cat. Probably.
And
we
also,
don't know.
And also all the jokes about people calling it Tardick,
Yeah,
which
we couldn't do that. We couldn't do that. So we're going with Time Cats. It's nice, simple, and to the point. And we just spent a couple minutes on the name. It's going to be a good one. So, the reason for the Time Cats in the title, aside from being the only two words in the title, there need to be words in the title for it to make sense. But anyway, so Doctor Who, we're doing that. We're doing a podcast on that, and it just so happened that I figured out how to do podcasts right when a new episode of Doctor Who came out. A new season, actually. Series? The new series uses series, right?
yeah, it's series 9, in fact.
Series 9. Yes. And this one is a doozy. The previous season, the first Capaldi season, was a bit of a mixed bag with its quality, but if this is any indication, that it looks like they figured out how to write for the 12th Doctor. This episode is just fantastic, and there was just plenty of shit in the first 5 minutes to talk about.
This is going to be a huge spoiler warning for everyone. We're going to be talking extensively about the episode.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the episode yet, you probably want to turn this off now.
Yeah, basically every episode of this podcast is going to be huge spoiler for Doctor Who. Just consider us a companion piece for Doctor Who, at least until the series goes on hiatus for another year.
Yeah.
The show takes
in which case, the show will probably shift focus over to, I don't know, Walking Dead. Do you watch Walking Dead?
Oh yeah, tons.
All right, then we'll switch to Walking Dead at that point.
Walking Dead's coming out in October, I think, next month. So that we might actually have to talk about both shows simultaneously. Ooh.
That'll be fun.
Then we'll be zombie Time Cats.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, maybe we should call the podcast Zombie Time Cats. No, that might be too complex. We'll figure this out later. Anyway, so this episode was so eventful, I needed to take notes because my memory doesn't work right, and again, so much shit to talk about in the first 5 minutes, and then the rest of the episode happened, and it just kept adding shit, and it's amazing.
I should explain to the viewers. Josie is a time lady, so her view on time is wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Yeah, it might be side effects from my brain tumor, but I like your interpretation of it better because it's cooler. It's way cooler. Yeah, so I don't really perceive time very well or at all. Everything that happens feels like it either just happened or happened years ago, and I really not good at it. And the episodes of Doctor Who, for instance, I remember stuff happened and it was amazing, but unless I'm looking at notes, and I got notes here, good notes, then okay, so basically if I just look at something that reminds me of it, I'll remember the whole thing. But if I'm not, then yeah, I need to be focusing on stuff in order to remember it. Otherwise, I can't. All right, so we got that out of the way. Should we go into the episode now, or should we explain how long this podcast took to make?
I think we should explain the history of how this podcast came to be.
Right. So we've been actually planning this podcast since
2013.
Yeah, Smith was still the Doctor, and he was great too.
Mm-hmm. We used to have Skype calls where we talk about the latest Doctor Who episode,
Yep.
and we discussed having a podcast one day, and that day's arrived.
Yeah, that day has arrived. I am no longer living with my mother, who would present
The
all
Wicked Witch.
present all sorts of difficulties, screaming at me, having me run ridiculous errands for her. Just I could never actually do anything that I
It was
wanted.
like living with a Dalek.
No, because that would have been awesome, and I would have died a lot quicker. Yeah, yeah. Like, unless I removed the egg whisk and made cookies with it, that would have been. Those would have been. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of a joke. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
Would the Dalek laser egg whisk thing would that also cook the dough while you're stirring it?
BBC, we are selling you a product idea. Automatic cookie cooking, baking, egg whisk, Doctor Who brand, laser,
Yes.
laser. Yeah, put that on the label. That's the name of the product, and I don't even remember what it was, but just put it on the label. So yeah, and so I'm currently recording this podcast. I didn't even know I could do that. I have Minicam open, simulating a stereo mix because my computer doesn't support stereo mix, and 2 instances of audio repeater repeating the audio that I am then recording in Audacity, and it's all working out pretty well. I might be able to also record Let's Plays. I'm not entirely sure. Hopefully. We'll see.
So shall we go into last night's episode now?
Yes! The episode. Oh my god, that episode. Oh my god.
Hand mines.
50 years producing content in one medium or another, non-stop, and Doctor Who still finds interesting stories to tell with time travel. Holy
Yes.
shit! Like, we all thought the episode was going to be about the hand mines. It wasn't! You want to know what it was about? Alright, so, the Doctor is trying to rescue a kid who's stranded in the trapped in the middle of the hand mines. He asks the kid's name because he wants to show the kid that he has a future. Because unnamed characters in sci-fi shows usually die, and the Doctor apparently is breaking the fourth wall here. So like, tell me your name, tell me your name. The producers won't let a named character die in one episode. And then he says his name, Davros. Holy!
Yes.
What the? I can't even form words. That's.
Now, for those who don't know who Davros is the creator of the Daleks. Davros created the Daleks to be the most hateful creatures in the universe, and they're the Doctor's most iconic enemy. And the last time we saw Davros was in the season finale of Series 4, back with David Tennant, with Donna Noble as his companion. The 10th Doctor, David Tennant, and Donna Noble as his companion. And there we saw what we thought was Davros going down with the Crucible after eliminating the Daleks.
But as with so many villains on this show, Davros never stays dead. He'd actually died several times in the classic series, but always came back. And yeah. And here the Doctor is. He's asking Davros. He's asking the kid who doesn't know his name yet. He's asking, "What is this planet called? Where are we?" And he doesn't know what's going on because the what was Davros' species called? The Khalids.
Yeah, I think so. They were the
Yes.
Khalids.
The Khalids and the Thals, the native species of Skaro, did not actually know about space during the early parts of their history. So they didn't know what a planet was. So they didn't know what their planet was called. And so the Doctor had no idea this was Skaro or Davros until he said it. And then he just had an oh shit moment and abandoned a child in the middle of these weird hand things.
But he did leave his sonic screwdriver, which is presumably how Davros managed to get out.
Yes. And then in the present day, this cool snake guy is looking for the Doctor, and he meets up with the Sisterhood of Karn, um,
Shadow Proclamation,
the Shadow Proclamation. Right. I
which is also another thing that was that last appeared in the Stolen Earth.
yes.
And the funny thing about that is the Shadow Proclamation has not been mentioned or referenced seemingly at all since um, since Stephen Moffat took over for Russell T Davies on Series 5. As a matter of fact, it wasn't technically mentioned here either, although we did see the Shadow Proclamation building and the woman who leads it, the Shadow Architect, I believe she's called.
I believe that her name is a Shadow Architect. Yes.
It's the
All
Shadow
right,
Proclamation.
and we're back. I edited out the me being gone parts. We were talking about the Shadow Proclamation.
Yes, the Shadow Proclamation. Like I
Hmm.
said before, they last appeared in the Stolen Earth, with the Shadow Architect being their leader.
Hmm.
So, and although the Jejun were also seen next to her, the Jejun actually have appeared since Moffat took over in the Pandorica Opens.
I think that the only reason they existed was because it was difficult for David Tennant to vocalize their language. And now that he's gone, Moffat doesn't really see a need to have them anymore. I am obviously joking. I'm sure that they exist for other reasons. But yeah, Moffat just wanted to screw with Tennant with their chant.
Go, show, go, show, go, show.
Yeah, for apparently with a Scottish accent, it is difficult to say that,
Ah,
which is probably why they're back now, because Peter Capaldi is Scottish, right?
I think so.
Yes, yes, he is. Oh, they mentioned it in this episode. Not to do something involving sheep, because he'll go full Scottish on them.
Ah,
I think it's sheep. I hope that wasn't offensive to somebody.
don't worry. I have two Scottish friends who might be watching this show. So if it was, believe me, we'll hear back from them.
All right, don't worry. I hate sheep. Have I told you about that?
Yeah.
In Minecraft, in beta 1.5 through 8, sheep would actually kill me more than any other mob because they would always push me off cliffs
Oh wow.
all the time, consistently, always sheep. And it was weird because any mob can do this, but only sheep. So sheep were purposely out to get me, more so than the zombies, the skeletons, and the exploding green penises.
You mean the creepers?
Yes, but I prefer to call them exploding green penises because it is funnier. When I get around to doing a Minecraft Let's Play, I'm going to call them creepers, but yeah. Anyway, we were talking about the show, and I got sidetracked. Right, so, the snake guy is looking for the doctor, and eventually he makes his way to the Sisterhood of Karn.
Which were last seen in the preview in the prologue for the
The
was it the Day of the Doctor?
the day of the doctor was
The 50th anniversary special.
the 50th anniversary was called the Day of the Doctor, and the prologue was called Night of the Doctor,
Right.
which we should probably we might as well talk about here because we're not gonna get because well we're talking about the ninth series 9, so we're not gonna get another chance. So that was the Eighth Doctor's first television appearance since the movie. That was pretty neat.
Yeah. Because the Eighth Doctor was only in the U.S. movie,
Yep.
which was in '96.
He was the longest running active Doctor because the audio plays were the only running canon at the time. So, and he was basically the current Doctor for about 10 years.
Well, actually, I think it would be 8 because the new series started in 2004.
Right. Or was it 5? I think it was. I'm not gonna. Again, not good.
It started. I think it started in 2004.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Not good with time. There's a rumor that Paul McGann will be back for a regular role on the series, or at least a guest role. So that's cool.
Going into rumors,
Mhm.
this Christmas special, by the way, will have River Song.
Ooh.
Yeah, River Song's gonna be back.
Can't wait to see her what's her her thoughts on
Reaction to the new Doctor.
reaction, yes, because she did appear in a Doctor Who video game where it was confirmed that she did actually have interactions with the previous Doctors,
Yes, that's true. I've read that as well.
and apparently her notes for the Seventh Doctor were, quote, surprisingly Scottish, end quote. So yeah,
Yeah, this is,
she also did not seem to like the first two Doctors, or was it just the first Doctor? I'm not.
well, I know she wasn't ready to have that conversation with the fact that he'd had kids from a previous relationship.
Yes,
That was a conversation she was not ready to have with him.
that and the first Doctor was basically completely different from how the Doctor is in all later incarnations.
Mm-hmm.
In the first episode, he tries to bash a caveman's head in with a rock. Good times. Good times.
But now back to last night's episode.
Yes, the Sisterhood
The
of
last night's
Karn.
episode after
Mhm.
there was actually it was pretty exciting when all those when Missy used the for those who don't know, Missy is the latest incarnation of the Master.
And
but
and might I just say that if they were going to replace John Sim, they needed to go all out and get someone even better, and I think they did. Because
yeah, this is quite the twist.
for one, we have for the first time seen a Time Lord change gender in canon.
It's been mentioned before, but we haven't actually seen the character who'd done it.
And it's the Master of all people, and I love it so much just in concept. And then Michelle Gomez manages to out Sim John Sim. She is just perfect for this role. I love her to death.
She is quite fabulous at this. Yes, I admit she is. Especially the fact that she's chosen her theme song to be, "Hey Missy, you're so fine. You're so fine. I know you're on. Hey Missy.
Yep.
Hey Missy."
Apparently, the Doctor has his own text channel with Unit that he never uses, but they get a notification from it, which freaks them out. And then it turns out it's from Missy playing that song, and it's just wonderful. And
Yep.
right, so we jumped ahead a bit, I think.
Not really. No, that's right where we were.
No, we were at the
After we see the face guy, then we go to Earth and the planes stop.
right, but we didn't explain that the Snake Guy works for Davros.
True.
Right, so the Snake Guy works for Davros. He's looking for the Doctor to deliver a message. Magical editing powers activate!
I didn't even know we were going to do a whole episode synopsis. I thought we were just going to talk about key points within the episode and analyze it.
I like the Snake Guy. Sorry,
The snake guy was creepy.
I have been watching Channel Awesome for so long that I don't really know how to review a thing without synopsizing it. Right. So, and plus, some people are going to want to watch our podcast instead of Doctor Who because it's a very long show. And you
That's
kind of have to watch it. And some people just like things they can listen to.
Gasp! People are going to want to watch our podcast.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm used to having 0 watchers.
so
that will be your first.
judging from I have read very little of Liam's YouTube comments, but apparently I'm the popular one. I think. That doesn't seem right to me. Anyway, so let's see. So Missy's quote, I meant to actually look up the exact quote before we started, but okay, so she calls Unit because she stopped all the planes in the world in the middle of the sky, and they kind of want her to stop. And she's called them up and said, I'm in the middle of one of your hot countries. The wind is blowing to the east. This coffee is great, and I need 8 snipers. And they ask her why she needs 8 snipers, and she said, because that's the only way you're going to feel safe talking to me. So she talks to them. Then she's looking for the Doctor too, and she's got his last will and testament. And why does she have that? Where'd that come from? What's going on with that? Theories.
Yeah, so we're one episode into the season already, and once more we've got another episode where the Doctor's dying again. Boy, we've been doing that a lot since Moffat took over. Not that I'm complaining, mind you. I find some people I've read complaints about it. I actually find it interesting. Keeps you on your toes when this character that has all these lives is constantly worrying about dying.
Yeah. And as much as I do like Capaldi, I am still firm. I still firmly believe that one parody Stephen Moffat made indicates that he will have a female doctor at some point. So when they said that the doctor thought he was going to die, I thought, well, okay. So 2 years with Capaldi was okay, I guess. So we're gonna get a woman next. We're not. I want Capaldi to stick around for a long time. He is great. I just really, really want to know if the next Doctor's going to be a woman. It's got to happen. Okay, so then they find the Doctor in 1128 AD. I remember because I wrote it down. Because they have a machine that tracks historical anachronisms. That's pretty impressive. And Missy is telling Clara, okay, now look for any anachronisms, no matter how subtle. Out comes the Doctor in an ancient coliseum, riding a tank, surrounded by machine fog, playing an electric guitar, wearing sunglasses, and she just stops talking because she's all like, "Wow."
Now, if you've watched the preview episodes, it's not actually a coliseum, but rather they're in a castle.
Oh, okay, so it's like a medieval castle.
Yes, and we got to see 2 of the weeks that he spent with them.
Okay, I gotta watch those after this. All right, yeah, he apparently spent 3 weeks with them, but because Time Lords don't do time perception well, he thought he was only there a day.
Well, actually, he did initially know the preview episode kind of hints that kind of strongly suggests that he was really not looking for, as of his previous incarnations, was not looking forward to what he thought was a certain death, and so he was taking his sweet time with it, much as Matt Smith did before he went to Lake Silencia, and much as David Tennant did before eventually going to the Ood sphere.
Speaking of previous Doctors, during that little vacation that apparently he had on purpose, Capaldi mentions that he spent a day wearing a bow tie and a scarf. Apparently, the 12th Doctor really likes nostalgic costumes. For those who somehow haven't noticed, Capaldi's regular costume is a reference to the 3rd Doctor.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I'll show you a comparison image. Actually, you talk about stuff. I'll find it for you.
Okay. Well, obviously, since he came out, so after the Doctor comes out on the tank, the reason why he's holding this guitar is because they were going to have an axe battle, and the Doctor, being the wise ass that he is, decided to come out there with a guitar axe rather than an actual axe. And of course, he declared himself the winner after that, because if you're going to write the rules as you go along, you're going to write them so that you win.
And he was all like, "What? It's an axe, like a guitar axe. Come on, that joke will be funny in a couple hundred years." And
Yeah.
do you like my tank? No, I don't like it.
And then he makes a joke about a fish tank.
Oh! How did I not get that during the episode? I feel silly.
But anyway, Missy and Clara have arrived thanks to what do you call those things?
Vortex manipulator.
Vortex manipulator. Now that actually settles a bet between. Well, not really a bet, but that actually settled a discussion between me and my mom, who also watches Doctor Who. I had been adamant that that having escaped from Gallifrey, wherever it now is, that Missy had her own TARDIS. My mom my mom thought that she had a vortex manipulator like River and Jack had, and so this episode clinches it that she apparently is not currently using a TARDIS, but is using a vortex manipulator.
Yep. She actually reaches over the table and fucks with the one that Clara is wearing.
Ah,
Sorry.
so that wasn't her own vortex manipulator she was using?
No, I assume that tablet thing she used to control the planes was what she used. Sorry.
So we still have no idea if she has her own TARDIS or not.
No idea, but she probably does. And sorry, I'm fiddling around with a lanyard. I should stop doing that. Anyway, I have linked you to an image of Capaldi next to Pertwee.
Ah, now I understand where the magician reference is from, because Pertwee looked like a magician.
Yep. This was apparently an intentional reference. And I will link this image in the annotations of the YouTube upload of this video, or incorporate it into the title card. I haven't actually planned what the title card will be for this. This is very poorly planned. I basically jumped into podcasting as soon as I figured out how to do it. That's very unprofessional, but I'm part of a Let's Play show where we frequently accidentally forget to move the mouse out of the capture, so I'm not too worried. Anyway, so the doctor's here, and then the snake guy shows up, and he's all like, "Davros knows what you did, Doctor. I'm made of snakes." And then he reveals he's made of snakes.
By actually making the night guy, who the Doctor was going to fight, make a snake pop out of his mouth, which is a clever magic trick, by the way.
Yes.
Clever magic trick.
Not up my sleeve, it's down your throat. He didn't actually say that, but he should. He should have said that. He shouldn't have said that. That would have been silly. Alright. So, then the doctor says, "Fine, I'm fairly certain that this is a trap, but I'll go with Davros if you don't hurt any of these people." And of course, being Davros, he hurts all the people.
Actually, they were already replaced by Dalek. They were already had their transformed into Dalek worker drones, as we've seen previously when they went to the Dalek Asylum.
What are your opinions on those? It's like, I first saw the Asylum of the Daleks, I thought, okay, why are the Daleks... I don't...
It is strange, isn't it? I mean, when the new Dalek paradigm arrived, they wiped out all the old Daleks from the Time War because they weren't pure Dalek, and now they're apparently just making human Dalek hybrids for the hell of it. And while I understand the strategic advantage of it, I'm
the Daleks...
not certain why.
Like, later in the episode, Missy proposes a method the Daleks could destroy everything that ever lived all the time forever, burn all of reality, which is what they fought a whole war over, and they don't take it because they just want to kill the people that are currently in the room. And the Daleks aren't really written consistently.
No.
So,
well, the whole writing of the show has never been really consistent.
Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly ball of stuff.
Plot holes everywhere.
Anyway, so, moving along, the Doctor is aware that Davros is probably going to kill him, but he thinks he deserves it because he feels ashamed for abandoning Davros as a child, because of the would you kill...
Because the Doctor has empathy.
Because of the would you kill Hitler as a baby paradox. Not a paradox? I don't know what to call it, sorry. The Doctor just couldn't bear he couldn't bear helping Davros, even if this wasn't Davros, this was Davros as a child. Like, Davros doesn't become evil until like, way later.
Mm-hmm.
But, but see, Davros, he has the sonic screwdriver, so, like, it's pretty obvious. Yep, he lived, and he's pissed. And because of the way time
And he remembers.
because of the way time travel works in Doctor Who, that event probably didn't actually happen until this episode, because time work
Timey-wimey.
time work
Wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey.
basically all these different timelines are happening at the same time, sort of. It's really weird, but it's easy for me to follow because of my problems with time. But yeah, so Davros.
It also allows the writers to not have to cover up plot holes.
Yep. This show is very good about plot holes. Very good about plot holes. There are tons of plot holes, and they acknowledge them, and they don't care.
For example, how for 6 seasons it was believed that the was it 7 seasons it was believed that the time war was locked in a time lock, and at one point Dalek actually went through the time lock and got all messed up, and now that time lock never existed, and so yeah, trying to think about it makes my head hurt because again that involved Davros and Dalek Thay, was it?
Dalek.
Dalek Khan. It was Dalek Khan.
Yes.
Dalek Khan, and now that whole incident that would have caused Dalek Khan to be nearly blown to smithereens. That time lock never actually existed, but yet those events happened. But the time lock that led to again,
See,
trying to think about it, it's plot holes and it'll tie your brain in knots.
The explanation for what the Time War actually was pretty much goes along with this. There were so many chronological inaccuracies that nobody could follow what was real and what wasn't. There were things that couldn't have happened unless other things have happened, but then those things didn't happen anymore. So like it was apparently creating new entities like the Nightmare Child and what was it, the Neverwers and the other fairy tale named things.
Yeah, the Never Been King and his army of Never Wers.
Yes, the time zombies from that Matt Smith episode that nobody liked. Those actually seem to me like something that might have been involved with the Time War somehow. Like
probably.
Like they were called the Neverwers, weren't they? And I'm thinking
they were called something. I don't remember what they were called.
Like in the Pandorica episode, the stoned Daleks and stone cyber.
The stoned Daleks, yes, the stoned Daleks.
Like
420. Blaze it.
That fossilized Dalek that came to life and started chasing them. The time zombies really reminded me of that. Also, the time zombies were kind of one of my favorite designs for monsters in Doctor Who, and I really, really feel bad that nobody liked that episode, and they're probably not going to come back. Anyway, we were talking about this episode. They used that Genesis of the Daleks clip, and this is one of the... For the Day of the Doctor, they used classic Who clips, but this is the first time they actually put focus on an actual clip from the show, unless the Name of the Doctor counts, but that was severely edited footage. So I'm getting really sidetracked again. Anyway, so the Doctor, Missy, and Clara think that Davros is being housed in a floating spaceship hospital, but as it turns out, it's not, because they open the airlock and they don't get died. They don't.
Yes, it turns out the entire planet is invisible, and once they step out, it sinks into real space, and it turns out they are on
Dairy Queen, the Dairy Queen planet.
Yes, they're on the Dairy Queen planet.
Yeah,
and they're just giant cows everywhere.
Yeah, and they're gonna get ice cream. And that's how the episode ends. Next episode's going to be about ice cream. Also, they're actually on Skaro, and that was a joke.
Yes.
And a classic color scheme Dalek shows up. Was that actually a reused Dalek from the classic series, or is it just a new series Dalek that had the classic color scheme?
It might have been specially built for this episode.
The BBC shop does actually, you can buy officially licensed Dalek props from the BBC. They're like $4,000, but they do have a classic Dalek you can buy that's I think similar to the one in this episode. I'm not sure. I have to go to the bathroom again, so I'm not really concentrating. Should I do that?
Yeah, sure. We'll take a quick commercial break and be right back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
You want to cut? You want to cut the video while you're doing that?
no, no. Say something funny while I'm gone. Maybe do
Okay.
maybe do a little dance, little audio dance. I'm not sure what that means. All right, be right back. Sorry.
Now that I have all of your attention, I'd just like to take a second to play a little smooth jazz. And that was the smooth sounds of me making noises on the fly. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. Strangers in the night. Strangers in the night. So this is why I don't do podcasts by myself. I just freeball it. Freeball it. Freeball it. Freeball it. Free balloons. Free balloons. It's it. It's the clown from Stephen King's It. Hello, children. Would you like a balloon? Ah! I've never actually seen it.
All right, I'm back. I just gotta put my headphones back on. I'm
I
paranoid
feel
about
like-
keeping the lights on, so I'm gonna have to turn
Turn
a
them off?
light on.
On.
That was a
okay.
stupid question. I mean, not a question. That wasn't a question. Hold on. I have to remember what words mean.
What do words mean? And are they words at all?
All right, so I'm back now, and I don't remember what we were talking about. Something about Dairy Queen and Daleks.
Yes, you just gotten to the point of the synopsis where they found out that they were on Skaro.
Right. So they're on Skaro, and Skaro is blown up or something at some point. Skaro happens. Time constantly either writes. Skaro is either destroyed or written out of the universe constantly on a constant basis. Missy's freaked out because they're all like, "Oh no, they rebuilt it again." They're just like me. They always come back, no matter how dead they are.
Yes, the last time we saw Skaro was the beginning of series 7, when they went to the Dalek Asylum again. That's when they introduced the people with the Dalek stalks coming out of their head. The Doctor met one on the ruined devastation of Skaro, which makes me question, when in Skaro's history are they? Since, well, when?
Let's see. I'm gonna guess. Fuck, I have no idea. Davros is apparently dying, so that tells us nothing. There are classic color scheme Daleks, so are those like supposed to be Dalek civilians or what?
Or are we back before the Time War even? I don't even know anymore.
I don't
even know.
like. When I say classic color scheme Dalek, I mean white with, or like white or off-white with light bluish highlights and bumps. For whatever.
Just say balls. They have blue balls.
Yeah, blue balls.
The Daleks have blue balls.
Yeah. For whatever reason, even though the show was shot in black and white, they still gave everything color. So the original Daleks were in white and blue, as well as the TARDIS's original console. I guess they figured that computers looked better in black and white if the actual props were white and blue colored. I guess. I'm not entirely sure what the reasoning is. I'll look it up later. I'm not going to look it up later. I'll forget. But hey, the classic Dalek! Hey! And then they kill Missy. And Clara. They're,
Maybe.
maybe. They're obviously not dead, but...
Well, here's the thing. I mean, this goes back to, okay. First off, always remember the color scheme and what happens previously. Like for example, in the previous series finale, when the Doctor allegedly killed Missy, you'll notice how the blue light that hit her and made her disappear was not the red light that turned people into dust when she used it.
Right, and
Suggesting that he deliberately didn't kill her, but perhaps teleported her. Now,
and now that I'm actually thinking about it, the Doctor has actually taken a shot from a Dalek before, and apparently those things don't kill Time Lords in one hit.
Except when they did with David Tennant.
David Tennant didn't die in one hit.
Well, he did. He started to regenerate after it, but he was able to divert the regeneration energy into his severed hand.
Oh.
So that was technically a fatal shot. However, one thing that should be noted is when the Daleks usually hit someone, it usually goes through them. You can see their skeleton, and then they collapse dead. These bodies disappeared as if it were the transmat beam from the final episodes of series 1 with Christopher Eccleston.
Oh. Yeah.
So those might not have been Dalek death lasers, but transmat beams.
Maybe. Missy had just offered the Daleks information on how to use the TARDIS to, as I explained, literally kill everything, everywhere, everywhen, all the time, forever and ever. Which is what they were fighting the Time War over in the first place, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
The ability to do that.
However, destroying, as they were going to do, destroying a TARDIS would bring about those same results, really. To be fair.
Actually, yeah. In the Bionicle continuity, it was actually explicitly mentioned. If you destroy something that contains the entire time-space continuum, you are literally destroying the entire time-space continuum. Don't do that.
And we've had and we saw what happens. What happened when the Silence destroyed the TARDIS in series 5.
Oh yeah, that.
With all the cracks in the universe, and it just blew up the entire universe.
Oh yeah,
and all of time itself.
Good times.
So what's happening as they blow up the TARDIS here is uncertain, but clearly.
Well, the TARDIS is mostly indestructible, so I'm interested in seeing if they actually could destroy it. Like it can be done. The science blew it up, so.
But the Silence blew it up from the inside.
Yeah.
They caused it to self-destruct. The
TARDIS
did something that caused it to self-destruct inside.
The phone box is not the TARDIS, so like the phone box is just the outer shell of the TARDIS. The TARDIS is basically its own dimension that the phone box just acts as an entrance to.
Yeah.
Which presents confusion because sometimes that's the rule they go on, and sometimes they're acting like, oh no, the phone box is the TARDIS, and some like, I'm just gonna go with...
Yeah, I mean, again, we've had the Daleks back when they had the Crucible. They launched the TARDIS into whatever flaming core the Crucible had, and that was allegedly supposed to destroy the TARDIS, but it teleported out.
Yeah, again, no, the rules of this show rewrite themselves so much. I like to think that the episode Father's Day with that drastically rewrites how time paradoxes are handled in this continuity is in fact canon. That episode was just only canon for one episode.
Yeah.
So
time paradoxes do not act the same way every time. No, they do not.
Nope, which is perfect for a show like this. Anyway. Oh, I actually meant to bring up earlier. During Missy's meeting with Unit, they were playing dubstep as her backing music. Dubstep has never been more appropriate to use as character backing music, because Missy definitely seems like a dubstep. Like, the dubs... If you were to translate the character of Missy and the Master into music, it would sound like dubstep. That was great. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm not a big fan of dubstep, but
I am not. I
actually
am not.
good.
I am not either. But as character backing music for someone as unpredictable and zany as Missy, it works perfectly. And then
And it wasn't terrible dubstep either. It was one of the more tolerable to my ears.
yes, and the episode ends with Clara shot by the Daleks, the TARDIS shot with a big ass laser, the Doctor pointing a Dalek's firing arm at Child Davros because he went back in time to right after he left Davros abandoned on that planet. He was all like,
Which may or may not have said something to do with the big bright time destroying light that came out of that presumably came out of the TARDIS when they blew it up.
"Yep." And the kid was all like, "Why did you come back?" And he was all like, "I'm going to save my friend the only way I know how."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, so, the Doctor. So, I actually realized in the bathroom. Do you think that he abandoned Child Davros that time because he couldn't bear helping Davros, or because Davros creating the Daleks is a fixed point in time and he can't fuck with that?
Well, yeah, I was wondering the same thing. I mean, I know from although I haven't watched Classic Who, I've read up extensively about it, and I know that that every time he's encountered Davros and has tried to stop the Daleks from being created, he only wound up making things worse.
Yes.
I mean, like what he tries to stop the creation of the Daleks before they can be created, and instead, he winds up infuriating Davros and causing him to make stronger, more efficient Daleks
Yes,
or whatever.
the Tom Baker episode referenced in this episode, Genesis of the Daleks, is actually canologically is that a word?
Canologically, yes.
Canologically, yes. It is considered to be the start of the Time War. The Time Lords, the Time Lords army enlists the Doctor to go back in time and prevent the creation of the Daleks. And the Daleks do not like this because that is not a very fair war tactic. And then the Time War starts, and nothing is fair anymore. Everything is topsy-turvy.
But which Time War? There's been several Time War, and the
The last
and the most
great
famous-
the last great Time War.
the last great Time War though supposedly happened sometime after the '96 special though, didn't it?
Yes. Basically, they had been planning to start the Daleks had been planning to start a Time War since Genesis of the Daleks.
Yeah, they've hated the Time Lords for a long time.
Yes, but see, most warring factions always hate each other, but they don't actually go to war until one side starts fucking with them more than usual.
Well, in the Daleks' case, they had to evolve enough to be able to fight the Time Lords.
Yes, the original depiction of the Daleks, because I have actually seen the first few episodes of the first Doctor era and Genesis of the Daleks.
Yeah, the original Daleks couldn't even leave their city.
The original Daleks, they moved by magnets. They could only move along the metal floors of their city, and could barely do anything. They evolved gradually over the years to be able to hover and eventually fly. Their lasers became progressively more powerful, and yeah, they
can jump through time. They they became one of the most dangerous. I mean, so much so that in the current generations of Doctor Who, it said that no other species could oppose the Daleks, save perhaps for the Time Lords.
And so they couldn't. Yes. So
which is why in the Matt Smith episode again, Asylum of the Daleks, it suggested that it's during all these years that he's been active since the Daleks came back into the universe with the new Dalek paradigm, that the Doctor has fought them a lot more than the show would seem to suggest. that we've seen on screen, at least,
Yes.
because he's the only one who can stop them.
Basically, yeah.
Because even the Cybermen, it only one Dalek can destroy 1,000,000 Cybermen.
You can defeat the Cybermen with 4 Daleks. We could defeat the Cybermen with 1 Dalek! You are superior in only one respect. You are better at dying!
Yep.
That was just ridiculous. That
was a wonderful line though. That is one of my favorite lines from Doctor Who.
I loved it so much. The episode we are talking about was I forget the exact series and title.
I have the TARDIS wiki open. I can look it up. Let
I
me see
think
here.
it was Series 2 Doomsday and or Army of Ghosts.
Yeah, that would be it. Pretty sure that's. Let's see here.
At about 40 or 45 years the show had been on at the time, or the continuity had been running.
Yeah, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday.
Mhm.
Doomsday. Yeah.
That was the first canon crossover between the Daleks and the Cybermen, and they had an insult contest, and it was just amazing. We are superior, but our design is more elegant. Daleks have no need for elegance. This is obvious. This show is great. And
So, what did you think about those hand mines?
the hand
Those
mines.
hand mines. Yeah. I mean, obviously, it'd take on land mines, but with hands instead of land.
Yeah.
And they're just these creepy hands that pop out of the ground and have these eyeballs on their palms.
And when they
they grab you and they drag you underground.
and they drag you underground with just really weird CGI effect. I'm not entirely sure why they didn't just dig a hole in the ground and fill it. But what?
No, actually, that makes that scene reminds me of Let me see here. Since I've got the episode list up here, let's look here. Series 5, The Hungry Earth,
Hungry Earth.
where the Silurians drag people down to the ground into the ground where they're living deep under the earth.
Ah.
That reminded me of that a bit. Although clearly here they're being dragged underground to their death, probably drowning in the sand.
Now that I know that the war between the Khalids and the Thals was more than just 2 humanoid species throwing sticks at each other, I'm interested in seeing more of this war, because holy shit!
Yeah, it's interesting. They had like biplanes that were like from Earth 1920s and 30s and stuff, but those shot lasers. And apparently the Khalids had bow and arrows that were apparently capable of shooting down biplanes. I don't know. We didn't actually see them fire them, but are they energy arrows? I don't know.
Yeah, and just this whole thing. It's just I hope we get expansions on this later on.
Yeah, I do too. It's and those hand mines are just so creepy. I mean, again, it reminds me of the hand mines remind me of from Metroid Prime, the 100% ending where after you beat Metroid Prime and in Metroid Prime's last gasp, it steals Samus's suit and some of her DNA. If you get the 100% ending, you see deep into the bowels of Talon 4, you see this puddle of Phazon, and then suddenly this hand shoots out from it in the Phazon armor, and then an eye opens on the back of the hand and looks around before looking at the camera, and then everything goes black. And it really reminded me of that.
Metroid is weird. Doctor Who is weird. Things I like are weird. I love weird things. Weird things are great.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. I was gonna think what else to talk about. What else to talk about this episode?
Let's discuss Missy, and specifically Missy. Now, how do you feel? Now we're both trans women. So how do you feel about the Missy character?
I love it. I love it so much. I love that other people love it. I love that I haven't seen many people complaining about it. I just everything about this is great. I'm kind of a little upset that basically the best example I can point to for a character that has changed one gender to another in canon is a villain. I would prefer having role models that didn't try to kill the protagonist, but I'll take what I can get. That's kind of depressing, but
Yeah,
I,
I get that.
I love this character. Other people love this character from the beginning of time, and to do this with the master is just fantastic, and I love it.
I enjoy it too. I'm the parallel there. While there are some parallels that you could say between Missy and a trans woman, I'm not entirely certain. I mean, clearly from the standard definition of what it is to be trans, identifying as or being a gender being a gender that's not the one that you were assigned at birth. So from that perspective, Missy's character would in fact be trans in some sense. Although, but I don't want people using Missy as an example of a trans character.
That's why I specified that I look at Missy as an example of a character that has changed one gender to another. It's
Yeah.
definitely not the same thing.
It really isn't. But on the other hand, it is nice to see a character like this. I would like actually I think did I hear that there's going to be a trans actress on Doctor Who later this season?
Yes, actually. I don't remember who, and we don't have any word on what role she's going to play, but she is going to be on the show.
Yes, and that's great. I'm very glad for that. That's exciting.
I know very little about it because sources were understandably a little bit more
In the dark.
a little bit more focused on one of Patrick Troughton's descendants is going to be on the show again. I think someone related to the Second Doctor. I'm not entirely sure.
And also someone from Game of Thrones is going to be on as well.
Yes, Game of Thrones.
And that's exciting for a lot of people, although not me because I've never watched Game of Thrones.
I've watched a couple of Game of Thrones with my previous roommates. I like it. It's gonna be hard for me to get caught up, but Peter Dinklage is in it, and he's pretty awesome. The character I'm most hyped for in the new Star Wars movies is in Game of Thrones. I mean, her actor. What are we talking about Doctor Who now?
We're talking about Missy.
Yes, Missy. The Master has always been a standout character in Doctor Who, and I appreciate that if they're going to have a character that isn't the Doctor change from one gender to another, that it at least be the Master. And honestly, I'm a lot happier that Missy turned out to be the Master than I would have been if she turned out to be the Ronnie or something.
Or River Song. That was a rumor as well.
That was a rumor as well, but
unlikely. But yeah.
River Song is married to the Doctor, and Missy referred to the Doctor as her boyfriend.
That is true.
Words. I'm losing words. So, do you think that River Song still had some Time Lord regenerative powers or not?
Well, it was stated very clearly that even if she did, she wouldn't have survived the electric shock or whatever shock it was.
Yeah, the doctor said he couldn't have even survived it, and if River Song did have any energy left, it wouldn't have been enough it wouldn't have been as much as the Doctor had.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have even saved her anyway. However, we don't know. I don't know is when the Christmas special is, but we also don't know what's going to be happening this season. So while with River showing up in the Christmas special, it could just be another one. The fact that they keep on running into each other at different points in their timeline. Hello?
Hi. Sorry, you lagged a bit, didn't you?
Yeah. Did you hear what I was saying?
Meet each other at different points in their timeline.
Yeah, they even though they keep on meeting at different points in their timeline, it could also be that the Time Lords come back this season and are somehow able to save her because the Time Lords can just bring anyone back to life.
Yes.
Because
in the Day of the Doctor, in the amazing climax that I actually paused and rewatched that multiple times. It was just amazing. The 12th Doctor actually does make an early bird cameo to save Gallifrey with the rest of the Time Lords, with the rest of the Doctors. So, and we have yet to actually see that event from the 12th Doctor's perspective. And it's pretty clear that he does, that the Gallifrey will return in the 12th Doctor's tenure.
Yeah, that seems to be pretty much inevitable. And again, as we know, the Time Lords can bring anyone back to life. They've brought Rassilon back to life. They've brought the Master back to life. They can bring anyone they want back to life because they have complete control over time, pretty much. Well, not complete control, but near complete control.
It's practically complete. Like they're
Yeah, outside of being rivaled by the Daleks, there's pretty much no other force in the universe that can go up against them.
like as I've mentioned before, Missy was able to freeze all the planes on Earth in time. Just in time, they were just floating in the middle of the sky.
Yeah, they were frozen in time, and she referred to it as a simple parlor trick.
Yeah, so yeah, that's just an example of just how almost complete the Time Lord control of time is.
Yeah, there's been a lot of things stated in these past nine series. Like for example, when the Time Lords were still a thing, were still around, it was easy to travel between dimensions, between parallel dimensions, like the Peace World, for example. That would be a much easier trip if the Time Lords were back.
Yeah, now now the TARDIS needs to be like malfunctioning or something, similar to how in a video game, your computer, if something is going wrong with your internet, you'll end up in a different server.
Mm-hmm.
Like the TARDIS needs to be severely malfunctioning in order for the Doctor to end up in another dimension, and then it's clearly an accident, and he has no control over where he ends up.
Was that what caused him to wind up in Peach World, or I thought they slipped through a crack in dimensions?
Peachville, was that the comet or the asteroid?
Peach World was the dimension.
Oh wait. Okay, sorry. I thought you were saying Peachville. I'm not good at hearing, and that hasn't come up before in this podcast. But yeah, there's that. Peach World was the dimension the modern Cybermen are from.
Yes.
Sort of. This is really a matter of show don't tell, but apparently the modern Peach World Cybermen have met up with the classic Mondasian Cybermen at some point and merged their technologies, and now this is basically the classic series Cybermen, and I think that the original cut of Nightmare and Silver made that more obvious, but they never got around to actually stating that in the show.
Yeah, but it seems pretty obvious from there that the two cyber men have met and have supplemented each other's forces.
Yeah, it's like so like some people were using the what is the name of the company?
Yeah, what was the name of that company?
Cybus Industries was the name of it.
Cybus Industries. Yeah.
The Cybermen all have this. The modern Cybermen usually had the Cybus logo printed on their torsos, and the one in the Pandorica Opens was stated to be a Mondasian Cyberman, but it was using that prop. And people were all like, "That's not that's doing classic series stuff, but it's using a modern day suit. I call bullshit." And I thought it was pretty obvious that the two Cybermen obviously assimilated each other. I mean, they had compatible designs and goals and were basically literally the same thing, so like they might as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like I guess that the writers figured they didn't need to explain it because it's kind of obvious if you think about it for more than a few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, all they want to do is upgrade all the inhabitants of the universe. So they'd probably they'd be very compatible. They'd just assimilate each other.
Mm-hmm.
Assimilate technologies of each other.
Let's see. Trying to think. There was a point I wanted to make a few seconds ago, but I already forgot. Right. Neil Gaiman wrote Nightmare in Silver, the Circus on the Moon episode. I don't think that was an accurate description of that episode, but he wrote it, and see, he writes novels, so the episodes he writes for the show tend to be very long and need to be cut because the BBC doesn't like to give two-parters to him for some reason. So he actually wrote The Doctor's Wife and that episode, and they were both longer than the BBC expected and needed to be cut. So there was going to be a lot more content that probably would have filled in the Mondasian Cybus plot hole. But it was cut, so we'll never know.
Yeah, but The Doctor's Wife and Nightmare in Silver were both excellent episodes.
A lot of people complained about Nightmare in Silver, but I didn't see a problem with it. I really liked that episode.
Nightmare in Silver was incredible. You had a cybermind doctor, which was fascinating, and also it hinted that it's possible that the cybermind doctor survived at the end. So it's quite possible now that we have living versions of both David Tennant's 10th Doctor and Matt Smith's 11th Doctor. We might actually have two versions of Matt Smith Doctor out there still.
Ah, right. Wait. Now that you've mentioned the Meta Crisis Doctor, I've just realized we're getting very close to the Valeyard from the classic series. Do you?
According to now that's an interesting point. Technically, the Valeyard should have already happened.
Sort of. The Valeyard, I believe, stated that he is between the Doctor's 13th and final regenerations. That could mean anything.
But if you remember, the Great Intelligence had stated that before the Doctor reaches the Doctor reaches oh god, why cannot remember that name now? Before the Doctor reaches
Trenzalore,
thank you.
yes.
I'm the one. You said you're the one that has problems with memory. I'm the one that can't remember anything here.
I try to focus on I can attach myself very well to fictions that have a lot of details to memorize. My short-term memory, I'm not able to follow too many details. So an episode of Doctor Who that I just watched, I need notes in order to remember what's going on. But I'm able to immerse myself in continuity of episodes I've watched previously. I've actually memorized a lot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because there are enough details in that yeah, memory's weird.
Okay.
Anyway,
yes.
Anyway,
but anyway, what was I saying?
The Great Intelligence.
Trenzalore. The Great Intelligence said that before the Doctor reached Trenzalore, that he would take on the name Valeyard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite possible that the Valeyard already happened, and Matt Smith disguised himself as the Valeyard.
Because, okay, so before the 12th Doctor was announced, for whatever reason, David Tennant was a popular contestant on polls for who would play the 12th Doctor. And I came up with this wonderful theory. Okay, you want David Tennant back so badly, what if he plays the Valeyard? Eh?
He could do that. I mean, we've seen him play a bad character before in Harry Potter.
Yeah, and like
Marty Crouch Jr.
Yeah, and like the Doctor. Okay, I'm trying to comprehend my thoughts here. 13th and okay, I'm not. The Valeyard specifically said he comes about during between the Doctor's after the Doctor's 13th regeneration. What number was Tennant actually? 11?
Yeah, he was technically 11.
Oh, crap. So maybe that theory doesn't work right.
But here's the thing, people. But as I was saying before, there is one extra version of David Tennant's Doctor out there.
Yes, the Meta Crisis Doctor.
Yeah, but there's also two versions of Matt Smith's Doctor out there.
The
Cyber Doctor and the Ganger Doctor.
Right, yes.
Because the Ganger hinted that he might be able to survive.
Right. So the Valiard will be coming event at some point in the near future. Like, who knows? Maybe in a couple, hopefully in a couple of years, and not at the end of this series, because Peter Capaldi is more similar to Eccleston than the previous two actors, and Eccleston only had one series, so I'm always constantly worried they're going to end Capaldi's run at almost as short as Eccleston's, because I really like Capaldi. Eccleston was actually my favorite Doctor.
But here's the thing about the Valeyard, though,
Mhm.
is the Valeyard lies.
Mhm.
Well, the Doctor
The
lies. The Valeyard lies
the
too.
Valiard is the Doctor, and they both lie.
Yeah, but also, now
I just realized we should have probably explained a lot sooner who the Valiard is to people who don't know.
they can Google it. They can Google it. Let them Google
It's
it.
it's pretty obvious based on context who the Valiard is.
Yeah,
Just
it's a Doctor who's come at the end of his regenerative cycle and doesn't want to die, and so he becomes like the Master and tries to find ways to extend his own life, much like the Master has in previous.
I interpret it as the Doctor regenerates once, but there's an excess of regenerative energy, and he regenerates into two people, or something.
No, from my understanding is it's like with the way the Master was when the Master was at the end of his regeneration cycle, and the Doctor, because the Doctor has been shown before of not wanting to die, so the Doctor at the end of his regeneration cycle doesn't want to die.
Right. The Valiard does state in a time when he was in an audio play, I think, when he was being very sincere, states that the Doctor was actually researching researching into regeneration, how to prolong his own existence when the Valiard was created. Also,
So you think that the Valeyard has not occurred yet?
not occurred yet.
I'm of the opinion that Matt Smith's 11th Doctor was the Valeyard, and here's why I'm so certain about that. We do not know how much regenerative energy that the Doctor received, but it's quite possible that he was. Hints seem to indicate that he was given a full regenerative cycle. So he was given how many times can Time Lord regenerate?
Time Lords can regenerate a total of 12 times for 13 Doctors, and 11 was actually number 13. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah. So they can regenerate a grand total of 12 times. But you see, the Doctor was Matt Smith was given a full regenerative cycle. I theorize, which means he's been given 12 more regenerative cycles, which would and as the Great Intelligence said, before he would come to the end of before he'd go to Trenzalore, he would be known as the Valeyard. So it's my theory that at some point between the name of the Doctor and the time of the Doctor, Matt Smith's Doctor goes back in time. Presumably after the Day of the Doctor, in fact, because the Day of the Doctor was when he learns that all of the Time War and Gallifrey isn't stuck in a
Time lock.
stuck in a time lock. So presumably sometime between the Day of the Doctor and the time of the Doctor, Matt Smith's 11th Doctor disguises himself using technology that I'm certain he has to disguise himself as this Valeyard character and goes back in time of Gallifrey's history and as the Valeyard. And that's my theory.
Right.
I think the Valeyard has already occurred and was Matt Smith's Doctor.
As stated, the Valiard is supposedly comes about after the Doctor's 13th incarnation, and Matt Smith was the 13th incarnation. So
Well, my understanding of the Valeyard is that it was the Valeyard is the Doctor's final incarnation.
yes, that could be it.
And Matt Smith was at the time at the end of his regenerative cycle. So I'm of the theory that Matt Smith was the Valeyard.
And speaking of the Doctor dressing up to pretend to be himself from a different time period, Capaldi previously played Caecilius is how it's pronounced on The Fires of Pompeii, a David Tennant episode.
Yes. Also, fun fact about that: or the actress Karen Gillian, who played Amy Pond, was also in that episode.
Mm-hmm. And
So fun fact. So go back and look at that episode, and it's fun to imagine that all the doctors and the companions from now on will all be pulled from that episode.
Capaldi also played the villain in a season of Torchwood, the John Barrowman Doctor Who spinoff. And Russell T Davies stated that he'd always had a plan to explain that away. And when Capaldi was announced as the Doctor, Russell T Davies gave the story notes for that to Moffat, and apparently that is going to be a plot point now. As stated in Deep Breath, the regeneration episode, Capaldi, the 12th Doctor recognizes the face, but is not able to place where it's from, and apparently that is going to be a plot point.
Yeah, and he wondered where the face came from. He actually specifically wondered, where do these faces come from that he gets. And so yeah, that's going to be one of the unsolved dimensions that have been that are lingering currently in the. For people who aren't familiar with Doctor Who, there are a lot of plot points that get mentioned and get brought up, and then get explained away seasons later. For example, the silence are first mentioned in series 5, the 11th hour, but aren't explained fully till series 6. And even then, we don't explain where exactly the silence came from and what they are until the series 7 special, Time of the Doctor. So for the entirety of Matt Smith's era, there's this mystery of the silence that's only resolved on his last episode.
And it turns out they're confessional priests.
Yes, that you can never remember confessing to.
Yeah, that's pretty counterintuitive.
Yeah, you would think you'd want the confessional priest to not remember.
Yeah, that's just the church, the papal mainframe. That's just their excuse for making the silence. The Science are actually soldiers, or some sort of bioweapon thingy.
Are you certain about that?
No, I'm not. Nothing is certain in a show that rewrites its production bible every episode.
Fair point. But yeah, and also, to be fair, there is still a mystery from about Rory. Believe it or not, even though Rory is no longer a part of the show, there is still a mystery from the God Complex that is yet to be answered. In the God Complex, and Rory specifically uses a wrong tense in describing the events with the Doctor, and the Doctor makes a specific comment on it. Now, it could be alluding to the fact that they had been. It could be alluding to the fact that they were planning to not travel with the Doctor anymore, which I think they stopped temporarily after that episode. That could have been a hint to that. But there are some that have thought there might be a deeper reason behind that odd tense use that's specifically pointed out by the Doctor.
I don't remember this.
Well, it's very easy. I mean, it's not a major point. And you remember the God Complex, right? That was the one with the Minotaur.
That was the one with the weird Minotaur. Yes.
Yes. Now, it's some point during the episode. Again, Rory uses the wrong tense. As in he refers to their adventures with the Doctor in sort of a past tense way, rather than present tense, and it's specific. And the Doctor specifically makes note of the tense for a moment, but then leaves it alone. Now, again, it could have been that they were already deciding that they were putting their travels with the Doctor behind them. That's a possibility, but. Again, take at the time of the God Complex, there was a lot of conspiracy, a lot of rumors running about that Rory was something more, perhaps the Master. There was specifically rumors that Rory was the Master, among other things, and so there were a lot of rumors going about Rory having some sort of, and so the fact that he used that wrong tense fed right into them.
I'm wondering if I want that to be canon or not.
Have you seen the split photo of where it shows John Simmons' master face merged with Rory's face?
Nope, but I'm gonna Google it. John Sim Arthur Darville. Do. Behold the podcast where we do the
Google.
do the Googles.
Yes.
Do the Google.
I'm not seeing the picture here. I have it on my computer. Not not my laptop, but on my main computer. I have the split image, so I'll send that to you later.
I'm actually looking at a photo of John Sim and Arthur Darville side by side, and they do look similar, actually.
But there's one that actually has the face split down the middle and has them side by side as if to suggest that he regenerated into them. And it's obviously a debunked theory now, but there's still
You never know. You never know.
stranger things have happened
Stranger things have happened, like
in the show.
like
Like the fact that the doctor's married to Amy and Rory's daughter.
yeah, that was weird. The whole thing, this whole show has been so weird and so amazing, and I can't wait to see where it's going.
One of my favorite picks from after the Angels Take Manhattan, where Amy and Rory left, was Amy arguing with the doctor about going back to save Rory, and the doctor says they can't. I can't take the TARDIS back to New York, whatever year that was, New York, because it will destroy all of reality if I try to make another jump there. And then she says, and then she says. And then she says, why don't you just take us to New Jersey and we can take the tunnel over to New York there. And then the doctor's all like, do you hear yourself? And she says, yeah, I know. And he goes, I've been to a planet that's literally hell, but New Jersey?
Did this really happen?
It's a comic that someone made after that episode to describe the plot holes in that episode.
It is. This is my headcanon now. This is my headcanon.
Yeah, that's yeah, I like that. And so he said, and she says, and he goes, I've been to planets that were hell, but New Jersey, really? And then she goes, yeah, I know. I'll just blink now. And so rather than her blink, rather than her letting the angel touch her because she's Mrs. Rory, she does it out of shame for even suggesting they go to New Jersey. Because New Jersey is supposedly so bad that no one would want to go there.
Amy, do you hear yourself? I've been to a planet on the edge of the universe, orbiting a black hole with the literal devil on it.
But New Jersey.
That is my headcanon. That is my headcanon now. The doctor just could not stand New Jersey so much that he let his companions kill themselves.
Yeah, I'm on because I'm a fan who watches David Letterman a lot, and I know David Letterman used to love to crap on. As a matter of fact, everyone generally who did their shows in New York generally liked to crap on New Jersey.
Everyone in general. I can't imagine anybody
not liking to crap on New Jersey. Yeah, the old saying goes, not even people in New Jersey like living in New Jersey.
I don't know anybody in New Jersey.
I apologize to anyone watching who lives in New Jersey. I've never lived there. I'm sure it's a wonderful place. I'm sure it's a wonderful place.
I'm not.
Or maybe it's not. We'll get on comments here that no, New Jersey is worse than hell. I don't know. We'll I don't know. We'll find out, won't we? We'll find out if people are angry or sad about the jokes about New Jersey.
Yeah.
I mean, the doctor's been to a lot of places, but New Jersey.
I really like that the Doctor has fucked around with New York City so many times in so many different time periods that it would rip a hole in the fabric of the universe if he even set foot in New York City again.
Yeah, it's
two of the same TARDIS collapsing together. That will only rip a hole in the universe the size of Belgium. A Time Lord going back to New York City. That will rip a hole in that will destroy the universe. uh, I don't know. That was the evolution of the Daleks was a pretty ridiculous episode. So I can see why the universe doesn't want to remember that. Like that.
Mm-hmm. What the evolution of the Daleks is that original series?
No,
Okay, the evolution of the Daleks.
that was the David Tennant episode where the Daleks shoved a guy up its ass and they did.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, actually, I like that episode.
I like that episode too, but it was fucking ridiculous. Which is why I liked it. I like weird shit. I love that episode. A lot of people hate it, and I can totally understand why. But I love shit like that. The only episode that I actually just could not sit through was Love and Monsters. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do that one.
That one had didn't that have the woman who played Moaning Myrtle in it?
Yep.
Yeah, I recognized her immediately as soon as I saw that episode.
Yep. And she got turned into a talking.
That is actually of the new series of Doctor Who. That is the episode I've actually seen the least. I've only seen that episode one time.
That Linkara has said that is the worst episode of all 50 years of canon. Most everybody does. The parts that the parts that only deal with humans are supposedly really good, and if the episode had just been that, then everyone really liked it. But unfortunately, they made the episode with a fan-created character for the villain, created by a small child, and it's basically Fat Bastard from the Austin Powers movie made into a monster. And it's not very good. And he eats Moaning Myrtle, and the Doctor decides to bring her back to life as a talking fleshlight.
It's a talking fleshlight. Oh dear God.
Well, see, they explicitly state that they have a bit of a love life.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. That now that you think about it, yeah, I remember her being stretched flesh.
Yeah, my headcanon is, and this is a very popular headcanon, is that at that point he was basically just hallucinating the Doctor bringing his girlfriend back to life as a talking slab of pavement, because why would the Doctor do that? Why would the Doctor do that?
Can't save everyone the way you want to, you know? I don't know.
What? Just would you want to go on living like that?
As what? As stretched face and that's
A talking slab of pavement with a face on it that can't do anything without the interactions of a guy who constantly shoves his dick in your mouth. Apparently. Okay, when I put it that way, it doesn't sound so bad. But
but outside the dick in the mouth part, that already sounds like my life already.
oh,
Useless slab that can't do anything. Yes, that already sounds like my life already. Doesn't sound like it'd be much of a change. Actually, no, that would be terribly inconvenient. Yeah, no, I don't think I would like that.
yeah. So my headcanon is that at that point the guy was basically just hallucinating, because I don't think the Doctor would ever bring someone back to life only for them to spend their life as literally just a block of pavement.
I mean, why not? Well, I mean, if he can do that, why not just bring her back as one of those? Hold on, I'll get it in a sec. Let me look down for the.
Maybe a robot or something would be cool.
I haven't. Let me see if I can find the name on this page.
Autons?
What's the name? Yeah, that might be those.
The Nestine duplicates.
Yeah, the Nestine duplicates. Yeah, one of those.
Apparently, their actual name is Autons, but that name is rarely used in canon anymore. I'm not sure why. Like, most of the entities seen that are called Nestine duplicates are just mannequins, basically. So like, they're not duplicating anything. Just call them Autons.
They're duplicating the Nestine consciousness. I don't know.
I don't know. Doctor Who's weird. It's a long. It's a big show. Can't keep everything make sense. Do?
Timey-wimey.
Timey-wimey,
Wibbly-wobbly.
wibbly-wobbly. Paul loves stuff.
So anyway, I think it's just about time to start closing up the show here.
Yeah, this
since
this podcast.
we've gone on for nearly 2 hours.
Yeah, nearly 2 hours. I'm gonna cut this up into, I don't know,
Bits and pieces.
bits and pieces. Maybe.
Easily digestible
It
chunks.
depends on how short it is once I've edited it. Because I'm gonna truncate the silence, edit out the parts where I go to the bathroom, and parts where we said to edit stuff out. Did you want me to edit out your stuttering, or did you want me to leave that in?
No, you can leave in my stuttering.
Okay. Let's see.
Let everyone know. Let everyone know I stutter. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. So before we wrap things up here, I wanted to discuss a little bit about the shows that we've done previously, or the shows that I've done. You've done.
Mhm.
You're on. You have.
I'm on a Let's Play series. The channel is called Beaverhausen Productions. I have never been clear what our Let's Plays are actually called. I keep remembering and then forgetting, because we actually record so inconsistently it's impossible for me to really remember. I can't even remember what our introduction actually is. That's probably going to change now that we're at least recording episodes in bulk. Before this podcast, we recorded 5 episodes of that to be aired weekly. And if we keep doing that at least once a month, we shouldn't have to go on hiatus again anytime soon.
Okay. And now I'm people might have seen me previously on Draw Talk with Simone, Martin, and David. And now, for those who are fans of the show, we have fans. I'm not. The show's been gone for a while, and that has on 2 things. David has gotten a new job, so David is no longer able to frequently do the videos, and Simone just hadn't been feeling well. And there's also the fact about that we usually record over Google something or other, and Google's discontinuing that service. So
Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts.
Yeah, Google Hangouts. They're discontinuing Google Hangouts.
Oh,
so
I better.
From what I understand,
I gotta write that down and remind one of my co-hosts at Beaverhausen Productions that then. Google canceling hang muffins.
So anyway, Google Hangouts is going to be canceled. So we are So Draw Talk is planning to become back at some point. We don't know who. We don't know when, rather, or who's going to be on it exactly. For people who are regular, they probably know me. I'm not wasn't officially part of the main cast, but I was the guest host on pretty much almost every episode. I was. Again, that's the kind of setup we had there. It was hosted by Simone was one who's doing all the recording and stuff and managing it, and then there was Martin and David, and I was just a guest that pretty much was the guest of every episode. Think of it like Letterman and Regis, like that. I was that show's Regis filled in, and so but anyway, if in the new iteration I will possibly be part of the official docket, but anyway, I don't know when that show will be back, but if I find out more, I will let you know. I will let everyone watching this show know.
All right. Basically, anything we end up saying during the podcast that I think we should edit out, I'll just edit it out.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
and watch the podcast be 3 minutes long. Missy hand mines the end.
Right. So anyway, let's play Terraria with Rose and myself. She'll be playing, I will be recording, assuming I'm able to. I will be let's playing robots for the Game Boy Advance on Liam's channel with Liam. And I don't know what else I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something because Social Security hasn't given me my disability money yet. And that's going to take a while, and I need money for things. So I'm going to just keep doing stuff until it stops needing me done. Anything else we want to talk about?
Ice cream.
I like ice cream. My favorite is cookies and cream. I was interning at a game store once, and one of my coworkers said, "Hey, I'm getting ice cream." I got ice cream. I didn't know what you wanted. So I just got you this, and it was delicious.
Ice cream.
I I I I really liked working there. I really liked working there. They got
Covered in ice cream. You're just covered in ice cream.
covered in
And that was, you had big ice cream shoulder pads and
yeah.
ice cream mask, and,
Yeah.
and you were just covered in ice
Yeah,
cream.
that's why they didn't end up hiring me after my internship was over, because I would get ice cream all over the